Hello everyone and welcome back to the Darren Connell podcast show. My name is Darren Connell and thank you for coming back after the awesome podcast we had online last week. This week we're joined with my pal and fellow industry worker, I don't know what to say.
I don't know what I do either, so...
Well, I'm joined here with my pal Ross Owen. You might know Ross from his own show, The Ross Owen Show, which is like an independent podcast radio show.
Aye, it's American radio show, and it goes online, so it's what it could be taken as a podcast, yeah.
Yes.
Aye, and it's something I do for the house, which is brilliant. I love working for the house because you're your own boss, aren't you? I mean, you're the same, you know, it's a great thing. You just talk about anything you like. And some of the guests that we've managed to get on the show has just been pure luck.
Yeah.
The power of social media.
That's amazing. When I was doing I've watched them, but when I was going through some research to just kind of, just recharge my mind on it, the level of guests has been unbelievable. So see if you just want to go and check that out for yourself and see how good that show is, on you go. And you've been working on something recently as well, haven't you? You're a consultant on the new Stan Ollie film.
Stan Ollie, aye, I'm a big Laurel and Hardy fan. And,
now, that's an understatement, isn't it? I would say you're a Stan and Laurel and Hardy super fan,
isn't you? You think so? That was a headline once in the paper. Stan and Ollie super fan. What's a super fan? It's just somebody that's...
Like proper Rain Man knowledge of them, like Stan Laurel done a fart in Wednesday 1924, like that kind of stuff.
Do you know what? I'm not quite that good, I'll be honest with you. I know people who are that good. I know people who know everything. But, see, I'll tell you how I get into Laurel and Hardy, first of all, and then you'll maybe make it clearer as to what my knowledge is. I mean, I was always a fan. They were on the telly. When I grew up, I mean, I'm 50 now, when I grew up, they were on the telly all the time. You know, on Saturday mornings, then in the 80s, they were on the telly, coming in for school. Laurel and Hardy were on BBC Two, remember that? The double bills they used to have. So I always liked them. But when I first went online in 2005, something like that, there wasn't that much about Laurel and Hardy, so I created a forum, the Laurel and Hardy Forum. And it built up over the years. People came from all over the world. Stan Laurel's daughter at the time joined up, and authors, all these people that knew about Laurel and Hardy. So it became the biggest database in the world of Laurel and Hardy stuff. So what I know, I've learned from other people, and I've learned from that. It's like reading a big book, you know. And so that was a similar. When I got the job as a consultant on the movie, I was a kind of middleman, you know. If they wanted to know something, if I didn't know the answer, I knew who would know the answer, because everybody's got their own field of expertise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's AJ Marriott, who knows about the UK tours. You've got Randy Skretvet in America, who knows all about their studio work. You've got Richard Bann in America, who's Hal Roach, you know, his topic. And so everybody's got something. And me, I was able to reach out to these guys if I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I know some stuff, you know, and I'm starting to learn more about the Glasgow connection, you know, because there is a big Glasgow connection between, you know, even Hardy, Oliver Hardy, his mother's got Scottish connections as well, so which we're looking into now. But Stan used to live here. Yes,
he's gigged in Edinburgh and down at the Trongate, kind of.
Aye, well, his very first ever stage gig was in the Trongate.
Yeah.
At the Panopticon, the Britannia Panopticon. He was about 16 or 17 years old at the time.
I did a gig there recently, about maybe a year ago.
Did you know that Stan Laurel had played there?
Yeah. Only reason I wanted to gig there was just to be on the same stage, and it was so odd and just unique, and nothing's really been done. Like it's just like you're walking into a time capsule that's not been touched.
Do you know it's the oldest working music hall in the world?
Yeah.
The oldest surviving one, and I mean, when you look up, it's creepy as well.
Yeah, it's really spooky actually. It just felt really surreal because it's like this really. I mean, this is why I really like you, Ross. I've always enjoyed your work and stuff, but see, when I found out you were a mad Laurel and Hardy fan, I was like, he's a good guy. And then I never knew that you did the database and stuff, so I was like, oh, I'd love to just sit and pick your brains with it, because anytime I say I love Laurel and Hardy or the Marx Brothers or the Three Stooges, everybody's like, oh, I kind of know who that is, but they never really get into it.
It's quite sad that when you think of what Laurel and Hardy have achieved over the years and how they've inspired other comedians. I would say almost everybody in comedy has been inspired, even if they don't know it, by Laurel and Hardy. And because I mean, they made that successful transition from silent movies to sound. Not a lot of people could do that.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that people love them so much is because their relationship. They're like two kids, aren't they? You kind of feel sorry for them, and even kids look at them and think, "God, they're stupid."
Yeah.
You know, it's like the original Dumb and Dumber. I like to say, as I like to call them. They were, and I think it's easy to love them, and they were off telly. They've not been on telly since the 90s, and so people are starting to go, now that this movie's come out, people are going, oh God, that's right, I've not seen Laurel and Hardy. I used to love Laurel and Hardy, and it's reminding them. And do you know what's beautiful to see is a lot of the feedback we're getting on the social media about the movie is people going, and this is the same when we put Laurel and Hardy in the movie. We sometimes put Laurel and Hardy in the cinemas, and it's always 3 generations that come out: kids, parents, and grandparents.
Yeah.
And people are saying that they love Laurel and Hardy because it reminds them of their granddad, or it reminds them of being with their dad when they were young.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that, and a lot of people are, you know, there's a lot of emotion with this. You've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I got emotional at a few points, but I got emotional thinking about that as well. After the film, I was like, God, I wish my granddad was still alive, because
Exactly.
see, when I was younger, one of my earliest memories was walking into his bedroom and his room just being covered in Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy, like, memorabilia,
Right.
posters, hats. You had Charlie Chaplin, canes, Marx Brothers stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to just sit and watch Laurel and Hardy on VHS, and it was the same. I remember looking as a kid thinking, oh, I feel sorry for Laurel and Hardy, and I want to be pals with him, and that kind of stuff. And I think he passed away when I was maybe 10 or something. But I know that the older generation would have loved that as well. It was unbelievable to sit there, and even the job that Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly done, I mean, it blows you away.
What about the prosthetics, the makeup on John C. Reilly? It's just incredible, isn't it? The fat suit.
It's so good. The only reason I know that it was a fat suit was because it was too much weight. So
Do you think so?
I thought there's no chance he's put on that amount of weight.
Right. No. Yeah.
But if I never knew who John C. Reilly was, and I just looked at that, I'd have thought that's an overweight guy.
Do you know the trouble they went to for that scene where he does the dance? That is working on the film. They contacted him and they asked what weight he was at that time.
Yeah.
Because he did change. If you look at films like Tit for Tat,
Yeah.
right, which got nominated for an Oscar, that one, Tit for Tat, that's when they go into the shop and they've got a shop next to another shop, and the two of them keep getting in and arguing with the other guy, and it's actually a sequel to a film called Them There Hills, where they go in the caravan and they get drunk and they sing Pom Pom, which was our Ice Cream Van's theme tune, by the way. Have you never noticed that? Do you remember the Ice Cream Van? The theme that used to go.
Oh, aye.
That's.
Didn't notice that.
Pom Pom. Out the Laurel and Hardy films. It's called The Spinning Wheel, I think it's called. I do sound like one of the guys that knows everything, don't I? Anyway, it's I forget what I was talking about. Tit for Tat. I've totally gone off track now.
His weight.
His weight. So yeah. So when they contacted us, asking about his weight in 1937, when they made Way Out West, actually contacted Randy and had written books on their studio work, and sure enough, he knew exactly what his weight was, and so we were able to take that and get it spot on, exactly what he weighed.
Now, I mean, excuse me if I'm just being silly here, but if that's back in the 30s and the 40s and someone that overweight, which is not uncommon now, but back then, was that not a wee bit strange? Because I'm trying to think, there was Fatty Arbuckle, and then...
You talk about fat famous people? Or just fat people in general?
No, like, well,
I think
general.
there was fat people in the 30s. I'm sure there probably was. But you just...
Such a strange sentence there, isn't it? Was there fat people in the 30s?
Let's go with this, right? So Oliver Hardy and Fatty Arbuckle back in the day, right?
Yeah.
We're now in 2019. Would you say there's a lot more
Yes.
fat actors now?
Yes.
That size? Would you?
And people as well.
Well, certainly there's more obese people. Health-wise, times have changed, without a doubt. But you'd think that there would have been more... You'd think we'd have learned more by now and be more healthy. We're trying to be more healthy now.
Yeah.
But back then, it's a good question, that, because I'm trying to think of big people, large people. I'm sure there was a few. There certainly was a few big heavies.
Yeah.
in the silent movies. But, you know, with regards to Oliver Hardy's health, he had to lose weight in the end. If you've ever seen the footage of them in around 1956 where he's thin.
Yes.
He was told to lose weight, you know, he had to lose weight.
Yeah. Because did he get put into a kind of rehab through a kind of really strict diet?
Yeah, we had to get, because he'd had a heart attack and they ordered him to lose weight.
Yeah.
And again, the heart attack, it's in the movie, you know, you see him taking a heart attack. But after that, you know, he died in 57, but, you know, before he died, he'd had a stroke and several strokes, and he had cancer, and so... from what I gathered, by the end, he didn't even, you know, really know who he was.
Yeah.
It was very sad. But
what age was he when he died?
well, he died in 57. I think he was 65. Let me work this out. He was born in 1892 and he died in 1957. What age does that make him? 65?
Aye. Yeah.
And Stan Laurel was 75 when he died. Because Stan Laurel was 75 and died in 1965.
Yeah.
Oliver Hardy was 65 and died in 1957, which is 75 backwards.
57 and 65. That's crazy. See, I'm always... Do you ever... Right, this might make me sound absolutely mental, right? But I love the Marx Brothers. Mm-hmm. You love Laurel and Hardy. I love the Marx Brothers. Mm-hmm. Groucho Marx died in 1977, 3 days after Elvis. So see, anytime I watch a film or anything... round about 1977, I'd be like, that's when Groucho died.
I have to... That's quite bizarre because the guy at Swamy, Graham at Swamy, is a massive Matt Bolan fan. Yeah. And he's the same with Matt Bolan when it comes to Elvis's death, because Matt Bolan's death always got overshadowed by Elvis. Do you know what I mean? Was there only weeks in it or something? That's a month apart. Right.
Yeah.
And Charlie Chaplin do you know what happened to Charlie Chaplin after he died? His bones got stolen.
Yes, I don't know the full story, but if you want to explain it, that'd be amazing.
Well, that's as much as I remember. I just remember it being in the news years ago that Charlie Chaplin, that's not funny, I'm not laughing for Charlie Chaplin got stolen at the grave. Aye. And I think they brought him back though.
What, for the dead? No, I was kidding on. He died, I think they buried him in Switzerland and they stole his coffin for Switzerland.
Did they steal the coffin as well?
I think so. And then they tried to
made it easy for themselves, couldn't they? They could have just...
Aye, they're just like, the coffin, it's too heavy, just get him out.
Put them in your pocket.
And,
that's not even funny.
That's all right.
I'm going to be lynched.
Half of who? Charlie Chaplin fans? They're all 120. And they stole his body and tried to get a ransom for it, but I'm not too sure what happened.
They tried to get a ransom?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that part.
So see, his daughter's still acting as well. I can't remember her name. Una Chaplin.
His granddaughter. Well, it's funny because John S. Baird, who made this movie, is the director of Stan Ollie, was on a plane. He was telling me that he'd been having a chat with this woman he met in the plane. She's in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I do a wee bit of acting. He's like, all right, he says, I'm a director, and they're chatting away. And he was explaining to her for the duration of the flight who Laurel and Hardy were, because she was younger, this woman. And he's explaining to Laurel and Hardy, you know, he's getting into detail about it and all the rest of it. And at the end of it, he said, well, we should keep connected, you know. And so she gave him her number, and that's who it was. It was Una Chaplin.
That's crazy.
And so she's not just done a wee bit of acting, you know. And
I mean, she's an amazing actress. She was in the film as well, Chaplin, wasn't she? I think she was in.
Was she? Yeah. I don't know, but that was a great movie.
I think she played Charlie's mum. Right. When she was in the hospital. Right. I'm sure she played his mum. And then she's went on to do so many other things.
It's good when they do that. They done that with... They had, remember Vic Reeves played Eric Morecambe's dad in the thing, and I thought that was great. He looked dead like him.
Aye.
And do you know, I'll tell you, here a cracker for you. Last of the Summer Wine, Stan Laurel's daughter was in an episode of that.
Wow.
And she came in, it's like a scene where she comes into the cafe, Nora Batty's got a hat on, and the woman that runs the cafe says, oh, a lovely hat, that's a lovely hat, and you don't see that anywhere else. And then you hear the Laurel and Hardy music,
brilliant.
And it's Lois Laurel comes in with the same hat on.
That's brilliant. Because I don't want to do any spoilers. I know it's out in the cinema just now, but when I was watching the movie, there was quite a lot of Norman Wisdom references, and I was expecting someone to maybe play that character, but I just thought, I remember reading Norman Wisdom's book.
Oh,
it must have been when I was...
That made me cry, that book.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and he was talking about Laurel and Hardy in it, and he's
he was good friends with him.
Yeah.
There is a bit of dramatic license in the movie. By 1953, they had already met, Norman Wisdom. In fact, there was one point something happened. I think there was an actor's strike or something, and Stan Laurel offered to stand in for whoever it was to work with Norman in the sketch, but it didn't work out. But yeah, they did know Norman, and I remember Lois, Stan's daughter, always used to say that they remained good friends. Yeah. They kept in touch, and especially Norman's manager at the time, they kept friends. But yeah, Bernard Delfont is brilliantly played by Rufus Jones in the movie. Yeah. Isn't he? He's so good. And I was sitting beside the real Bernard Delfont's nephew watching that at the premiere. And he was nuts, at this guy. He said, of course, it was nothing like that, but it was hilarious. And so, sometimes you've got to show conflict. You have to show love. You have to show conflict. Yeah. And so I think that that's why there's this argument. But people need to understand that the movie is not a biopic. It's being labelled as a biopic, but it's not a biopic. It's a dramatic adaptation that Jeff Pope has written, and with a book called Laurel and Hardy, The British Tours. That was his handbook. That was what he used as references. And the book was inspired. The movie is inspired by that book. But the story itself, although it did happen, there is little bits of, maybe a wee bit of exaggeration here. And they've taken the timeline a wee bit and changed the timeline just to get things in, maybe happened in the 1947 tour, or things that happened when they came over in 1932, and they've kind of put it all into this story. Yeah. So yeah, but the feedback from the fans is just incredible. People are everybody's saying they've laughed, they've cried, and it's, I don't think you can ask for better than that.
That's it, and it's going fantastic. And I remember when it first got casted, and I thought Steve Coogan's a bit of a strange one. I mean, I love being a stand-up comedian. I love Steve Coogan. I love him. But when I found out he get casted, I was like, oh, that might be a wee bit weird. And then when I seen it, I was like, well, that's why I'm just a fan and I don't know what I'm talking about, because it was amazing.
A lot of people said that, and in fact, one guy said, one prominent person in the business to do a Laurel and Hardy, a famous author, said, absolutely no chance John C. Reilly can play Oliver Hardy. He looks nothing like him. Talk about eating your words. Yes. Because because Steve didn't want to do the prosthetics. He wanted to just, being an actor, he wanted to let's just get the essence of the characters and forget, because he didn't want it to look too cartoonish. Yeah. But then even he was blown away by it.
Did he lose weight for that role? Because there was sometimes...
Steve?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. He's kind of a slim guy anyway, isn't he? Did you feel he was...
Yeah, I felt like...
He was fat in the 30s, but... but he's lost weight since then. No, I don't know. I thought he was always been quite a slim guy, but certainly John C. Reilly had just lost weight. Yeah. In fact, he had just got himself down to a kind of a really good physique, and when he got offered this role, and they said, do you want to put weight on for it? And he politely told him where to go, using two words, He said, no, I've just lost all this weight, and it took a lot longer to get it off than it will take to put it on. So, and he had to wear the fat suit he had a cooling system built into it, which surgeons used to use. Brilliant. Or they still do use in long operations to keep them cool, because he was covered from head to toe in prosthetics. Yeah. That's fantastic. Steve Coogan just had a little bit on his chin, and his ears pinned forward, and contact lenses. Both of them had contact lenses in, because both actors have got opposite colour eyes. All right, I never knew that. Yeah, Steve Coogan's got brown eyes, and John C. Reilly's got blue eyes. But in the movie, it's the opposite. That Steve Coogan's got blue eyes. Brilliant. And they didn't use the contact lenses in every scene. They only used them in some scenes. I don't know why, but I know the guy. Have you heard of Dexter? You know Dexter Fletcher? Dexter did movies like he did Bohemian Rhapsody, director, but he's also an actor. He did Band of Brothers and tons of other stuff, Press Gang. Well, Dexter's brother, Graham, is a friend of mine on Facebook, and he was telling me that his wife was doing the colouring of the eyes. See, when the scenes they weren't wearing the contact lenses, she had to do it frame by frame, had to do their eyes. Oh, wow. And I said, wow, what a job. He said, oh, you can imagine, it's painstaking. Yeah. Frame by frame, changing the colour of their eyes. So it would have been easier just putting contacts in, but maybe for whatever reason, they didn't do that at the time in every scene. But
It's totally unbelievable, and just kind of, I feel like I have good knowledge on that part of history, but doing some research for this podcast, I was just looking through, and Stan was he an understudy for Charlie Chaplin?
that's right.
At one
He was
point?
Charlie Chaplin's understudy, and they were good pals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people like to say that because Chaplin never mentioned Stan Laurel in his biography, so a lot of people think, oh, there was a bit of professional jealousy from Chaplin, but no, they were good friends.
Yeah.
You know.
But wasn't Charlie Chaplin a bit of a weirdo anyway?
Well,
Even though I love him, I do love him. But
I was never that big a fan of Chaplin. I'm not saying he's not good at what he does, because he is, obviously.
Yeah.
I just never, I wasn't even a fan of the silent movies at all. I watched them when I was younger. It was an excuse to stay up, because for some reason they used to put them on quite often, like the horror double bills they used to put on at 11 o'clock at night on BBC Two, because sometimes they would put the silent movies on, and so, you know, it was time to go to bed, and you'd be like, but I'm watching this, you know.
Aye.
Black and white films with nobody speaking, but it's you try to get kids to watch them nowadays. It's the DVDs are out with colourised versions, but
I can't watch colourised.
no, it's blasphemy,
It's not
innit?
the
It's
same.
sacrilege.
I can't do it. I watched the Marx Brothers one recently, and I was like, I'm going to stop watching that. It's just not the
Well,
same.
once the kids see by the colour, it's and a great, you know. Mark Hamill says the best film to show. He's a big Laurel and Hardy fan. He says the best film to show kids nowadays, to break them into Laurel and Hardy, is a movie called Brats, when they play their own kids.
Yes.
Small kids tend to like that, you know, and it kind of gets their attention.
I mean, when was that? Was that the 30s?
Yep, that would have been the 30s, yeah.
Right, so that, I don't know if you've seen Bratz, you should check it out if you haven't. This is when they were they made them small on
Way
screen.
ahead of their time, weren't
It's
they?
great. I'm wondering what that would feel like, watching that in the cinema back in the 30s. It must have blew your mind away.
It's pretty much the same as watching them now in the cinema. The real Laurel and Hardy. You must come to one of the screenings we do, because it's a Laurel and Hardy movies were made to be seen in a cinema with a packed audience. That's the way they were made.
Yeah.
So the timing of the gags is totally different.
Yeah.
They're timed. Stan Laurel did all this. They were timed. When they did a gag, it was timed that the audience they would go, right, the audience is laughing, and then another gag, and then they would allow time for that, but and so on. But I suppose they still do in television, but it was more aimed at a cinema audience, and so Stan's gags work better in a cinema audience, you know, because it's Hal Roach, the producer, says we used to always get a laugh, whatever Laurel done, and then you would get another laugh for Hardy's reaction to it. So you always got like 2 or 3 laughs for the same gag, and so they would time it accordingly. That's
crazy. And there's one thing that I've noticed as well. See, if you watch Laurel and Hardy and you think, right, see things like pie in the face gags, slapstick, carrying pianos up the stairs and stuff, which people might think, oh, that's not that funny anymore. But see, if you watch The Simpsons, Family Guy, Aeroplane, anything really, Lethal Weapon, you're like, that's a Laurel and Hardy reference. There's always jokes. Or you can see where the original joke came from, and then it's grown from like into a modern day joke.
That's right.
It's always there.
A lot of people are surprised at some of the one-liners Stan Laurel's written as well. That's still funny today.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a famous one that's in Way Out West, and a lot of people don't realise Stan Laurel came up with this, and that's when they're delivering the deed to the widowed. It's not actually her, it's an imposter, but they think they're delivering the deed to this lady, and they're going to have to tell her that her father's just died, but he's left her this gold mine, and the deed to this gold mine. So they go up, and she comes out with the flowers and the black veil, and she said, "Is it true that my dear daddy is dead?" Stan says, "Well, I hope it is, they buried him."
Aye.
Right, now that's still funny today, and it still gets used today.
Yeah.
People don't know it's Stan Laurel. Another great gag that he wrote was, I think this is funny. He says to Ollie, "Ollie, we should ask the landlord to raise the rent." Ollie said, "Why would we do that?" Stan says, "Because we can't raise it." That's brilliant. I think that's the 20s or the 30s and that he's writing all this stuff, and he continued to write after Ollie died as well.
Yeah,
he never stopped.
I seen that. And did he just keep that for himself?
Yeah. He didn't even want to be seen in public. He was offered a part in a movie called "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World," and he didn't want to do it. He didn't want the kids to see him old, and he'd had a stroke.
Yeah.
He was ill. And it was actually Jack Benny that got the part.
Wow.
But they had already filmed the long shot. And in the long shot, they had already thought it was going to be Stan Laurel. He was so sure he was going to get Stan Laurel. They filmed the long shot with an actor wearing a bowler hat, which is still in the movie.
What film was this?
It's a mad world.
Yeah.
And so there was loads of different stars, like Phil Silvers was in it, there was Buddy Hackett, there was loads of different stars from that era in this movie. It was almost like an American carry-on film.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You had all these different celebrities, all ensemble all in this one movie, but they were all Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
But Stan didn't want to do it, but they'd already filmed this long shot, which is still in the movie. Mm-hmm. You see the long shot. In fact, I think I just posted a clip the other day, either on Twitter or Facebook, and you see the car coming up with the bowler hat, but then there's a close-up and it's Jack Benny.
Yeah.
And he does the line, which is just a quick cameo.
Yeah,
but,
it's a shame as well, because I'm a Jerry Lewis fan as well. Mm-hmm. Before I found out he was pretty horrible in his older life.
Well, they say you need to be a bastard to get to the top. Yeah. They say the Beatles were the biggest bastards of all. But Jerry Lewis was very, very...
There's a Jerry Lewis film called The Bellboy.
I've got it in the house.
So you know the story?
It was which part? I know there's a Stan Laurel bit in it as well.
He tried to get Stan Laurel because he was pals with Jerry Lewis, and I think it was the same again. I'm too old. Yeah. It's not for me.
Did you see the bit where he's got the letter from Stan?
Yes. Aye.
And he's shown that, and it was Bill Richmond was the guy that played Stan in that.
Aye,
and there was a few scenes that they didn't use, but it'd be at the one, Jerry Lewis would be standing there and then Stan Laurel was swimming past him, and the some big fish tank or something like that. It was Bill Richmond swimming past the Stan Laurel, just random. I thought that was a great movie.
That's mad, isn't it? So see, because I love.
But Jerry loved Stan Laurel.
Yeah.
He said Stan Laurel was a genius, and he kept in touch with him.
He definitely was a genius. But see, because the Marx Brothers and the Stooges and all that crew, they were all vaudeville. I never knew. Is Laurel and Hardy, were they vaudeville? Did they Did they do vaudeville when they went into movies?
Yeah, absolutely. Vaudeville first. No, that's when you think back to when Stan Laurel did his first gig. That would have been when he was 16 or 17. So that would have been around about 1906, 1907. Yeah. Because he was in Glasgow sort of 1905 to 1907, and it was at that time. And then his mum died. Just after he left Glasgow, his mum died, and she's buried in Cathcart Cemetery.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and that's what we're just doing. I'm just doing a thing. Cassidy, Stan Laurel's granddaughter's coming over. I just contacted her a month ago and explained to her about the grave. Said it's not got a headstone on it, it's a bit unkempt. She said, well, I'd like to come over and we'll get a headstone on it and we'll do it like that.
You could set up a GoFundMe.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do that. Okay. But what she is going to do is, the fans want to participate. So what she wants to do is, she now owns a Laurel estate, so she's got belongings of Stan's. She wants to put something up and do it like a lottery, like a draw. Yeah. Maybe $1 or something, and people can donate $1 or they buy a ticket for the draw. And at the end of the day, somebody is going to get this item that belonged to Stan. Yeah. And they can use that, and then we'll fly her over and get her over to
That'd
come.
be fantastic. Keep me updated on that. And we'll post on the page and stuff, because I'd imagine people would want to get involved in that.
Well, I'm going over there next month to see her, to get it all in place.
Brilliant.
So I'll keep you posted with that.
That's brilliant. It's just, it's making me feel really, what's the word? It just makes me feel good talking about it.
Laurel and Hardy does that to people. A lot of people said when they come out to cinema that they just felt good and they felt like going watching the DVDs again. Yeah. Did you feel like that? Did you go to YouTube or whatever?
I went straight to... I've got the box set. I remember when I was younger, there was a space in my life when I was just no man's land. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I think I was maybe 17, unemployed, and they brought the Laurel and Hardy DVDs out in a box set, a big long sleeve, and I'm sure I paid something like maybe £60 for it or £70.
Right. 199 quid that was when it came out.
Do you know
21 discs?
It was, mate. It was that amount, and I remember thinking I shouldn't be buying this. I've not got enough.
But it was still worth it.
But I've still got it, mate.
And nowadays you can get it for 25 quid.
I know, but do you know what? It's worth it, and it's an education as well, because I was watching things that I've never seen before. It's the same with the Marx Brothers. If I seen something there, I'd buy it. It doesn't matter if I've seen it, I'll just buy it because I love it.
The Marx Brothers, I liked them when I was younger. Yeah. And I liked Abbott and Costello, and I liked Jerry Lewis. Yeah. I just liked that kind of thing when I was younger. But I kind of grew out of all the others, and I always stuck with Laurel and Hardy. I don't know what. There's just something. They just had something that the others didn't have. And I think it was something to do with the relationship they had
Yeah.
together, you know. But and I urge anybody, if they get the chance to go and see Stan Ollie, to go and see it, because it really is a good film. And even if you don't know who Laurel and Hardy are, I think it stands up as a film.
I agree with that. I think if you've never seen it, any other stuff you would know, you would get something from this film. It's fantastic.
And the wives of it were there.
Oh, it's amazing. That Scottish girl is fantastic.
Shirley Henderson.
Shirley is brilliant.
She was Spud's girlfriend in Trainspotting.
Yep. She was in the Acid House Rules as well.
Was she?
Yep.
Well, she works with John Baird a lot, 'cause she was in Filth.
Yeah.
She plays Bunty.
Aye. She's brilliant.
She's great. It's a great. And Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter as well.
Yeah, I remember I can't remember what it was called, but I was an extra in something when I was about 18 and she was in it, and I was just kind of sitting by myself and she came over and she spoke to me and I was like,
right?
She's so nice.
She did nice.
So lovely.
Did you ever hear the story about the extra? They got offered a line in his first day being an extra.
No.
His first day there, and you know what it's like. Everybody's like Ricky Gervais and extras. Everybody wants a line, right? Everybody thinks they're an actor, you know. And I can do that. And this guy, it was his first day in the job as an extra, and they said, right, MD wanted to do a line, and before any of us could say, and he's put his horn up, I'll do it. Big guy, you know, big bruiser, you know, baldy head. And they said, right, and they went there, and the second AD was talking to him, and I heard what man you do. And 2 words did they say? 2 words, right? It's basically what the scene was, the farmer was in the main actor is the farmer. I can't remember who the main actor is, but he's a farmer in this scene, and he's walking towards this extra, and the farmer says, it's a lovely day. And this guy's got to go, it is, and keep walking. That's all he's got to do, right? So it's like, right, they've told him that's what he's got to do, so he's pacing up and down, and he's practicing. like it's a Shakespearean play or something. He's like, it is, it is, it is. And his hands, palms are sweating, he's, it is. It is. It is. Nuts, right, this guy. And it must have been about an hour past. Take him up to the field, it's time to shoot the scene. The guy's like, oh, it is, it is, it is, it is. It is. Ready to go, right, lights, camera, action. The farmer walks towards him, and he's walking towards the farmer, and he's saying this line in his head. The farmer says, it's a lovely day. He goes, is it? He kept walking. Cut! I'm sorry, I'm nervous. 2 words and he got it wrong.
Did they eventually get it right?
Eventually, yeah.
Because you've done some acting before, haven't you?
I'd love to do acting. When I was younger, I did amateur dramatics, and I still do a lot of amateur dramatics, as a few of my ex-girlfriends will tell you, but acting's something that I've always been interested in. I'm like a jack of all trades. I've done hundreds of different things, and that's the great thing nowadays. You can do that. I've always believed that, you know, people who say I can't get a job, bullshit. Go up and find out what you can do and go and do it, because it's the only way, you know. And if you can't do anything, find something you enjoy doing, and then, you know what I mean, you'll get better at it. That's what I done. I wanted to be a DJ, and I became a DJ. I used to say when I was a wee boy, I wish I was a wizard, I wish I was a wizard. I used to sit in my room and say, I wish I was a wizard. I ended up Young Magician of the Year. And I've just realised, you know, years later, that's come from me wanting to be a wizard. Yeah. I just wanted to be, and I did become a wizard in the end because I was a magician.
Well, how long were you, I mean, you're always a magician, but how long were you?
Actively a magician. Yeah. Well, more when I was 14 years old, I started doing the magic, and I actually peaked too early. I got a magic teacher and all that. I just saw, no, everybody's got a magician that stays around the corner for them, but I did. A professional magician stayed around the corner, and his magic teacher was one of my school teachers' brother. It was his brother. So he was a brother of my school teacher, my tech teacher, Archie Fallow, great guy. He used to tell you kick in the balls if you didn't do what you were told. One of the teachers you loved, you know, kick your balls, son. Oh, brilliant. He's a cool teacher. So his brother was my magic teacher.
Did no?
I can only imagine. I hope so. They buried him. His brother Matt Fallow was my magic teacher, and totally taught me the other magicians act. Because he's the magician. He totally did. I didn't get into it actually. Show us your act. I showed this professional magician doing cruises and all this, you know, with this act, and then he's come back and I'm this young magician, and the guy that taught me his act. He's like, show me your act. So I've done his act. That's my fucking act. I still learned that. Every single thing about it. I said, well, so that's the one routine that you, I think.
Somebody else's act.
So anyway, we won Young Magician of the Year with that act.
Brilliant.
And but that was all within the year that I took up magic. You know, I mean, I was just in the library one day with my mate, and we thought, right, we've got a couple of books at the library, you know, 13-year-old, and we just grabbed a book each, and I've said, I've got a magic book, what have you got? And he had this big book that size, and it was the A to Z of sex. Right? So all these years later, I'm a magician, and I think he's still doing time. I don't know where I've never seen him since. But you know, I said, oh, my God, I worked in a parts department, Watson's Garage it was called, in Airdrie. And I worked in there when I left school. And the boys in the paint shop used to say, shows a magic, I had it all my life, shows a magic trick, you know, shows a trick. As soon as people hear a magician, shows a trick. They'd a pigeon called Hector that had got caught in the rafters one day, and they'd kind of adopted this pigeon. And so I brought my dove pan in, which was a thing that you put a dove in. You set fire to it, and then you do that, and take the lid off it, and a dove comes out it, right? You've got to preload it. And I tried to put Hector in it, right? And it's 10 times too big. I'll get it in, right? Because pigeons can get all that. This is what I'm thinking. So I've got this thing into this pan. This is like lunchtime or something. You can imagine, it's just all geezers, you know what I mean? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to show you this trick, but I need to do it now, I need to do it quick. I think I'm going to suffocate it, right? I've got an empty pan here, right? It looks empty, right? It's in the lid, right? So there's the pan, it's empty, right? You any petrol, right? So plenty of petrol in here. Lit the thing, things on fire like that, done this. Put the lid on, take it off, and this pigeon comes out. Now, when you see magicians on the telly, they come out and the dove goes majestically flies away and lands on a perch. This thing came out of this thing going, "Ya bastard!" I wasn't happy with a pigeon. He went for me. Hector the pigeon, but we never seen him again after that. I think he said, "Fuck this place, I'm getting out of here."
Did no.
Next door's rabbit. Oh, I'll tell you a rabbit story, because every magician's got a rabbit, but this is a belter.
Right.
The rabbit story. So next door's got a rabbit to my mother. Next door to my mum's house, pet rabbit, wee white thing. And this one day, our dog came in with a rabbit in its mouth, but they were away on holiday, right? So my mum panicked. As you know, fuck, what are we going to do? They're away on holiday, and the dog's just fucking got hold of the rabbit. So my mum got talcum powder and all that, right? Washed it down, and because it was all black and dirty and everything. Can you imagine the dog's making it all that, you know? Washed it down and put talcum powder and blow dried it and all that, and put it back in its hutch. So maybe they'll not notice the difference. So they come back for their holiday about a week later, and they tapped the door, and they were talking to my mum and that. My mum was like, she was like, hope we don't mention it. And the guy next door said to my mum, weirdest thing, we went away on holiday there. He said, but just before we went away, the rabbit died and we buried it out the back. You can work the rest of it for yourself. Fucking dog had buried it up, right? And my mum had it back in the cage in the hutch, all fucking blow dried and all the rest of it. They were totally baffled as to how this rabbit got it.
Shampooed.
Aye, smells lovely, but my God. That goes back to the whole...
That is mental.
I hope it's stayed, we buried it, you know, it's all connected. But
so what's happening now for you then?
It's a funny story.
Are you still, even though Stan Ollie's in the cinemas, are you still kind of working on it? Because I know that you're pounding the old social media.
Aye, it's coming out in America this Friday. This is the sort of big release now.
Yeah.
It's been out in the UK since the 11th of January. It came out last Friday in selected cinemas, but this Friday's the main release in America and across the world, so the worldwide release. So we'll just need to see how it goes. It's looking really good. It went to #1 in the box office here, so yeah. We're hoping that it's got a good success over there. It's not in as many cinemas across in America. I don't know why that is, but it should be out on DVD soon as well. When I say that, it makes it sound rubbish, doesn't it? Because they come out quick. But once it's had its run in America, yeah. I'm sure they'll bring it out pretty quickly on DVD and Blu-ray. And things like Amazon Prime, you know.
Yeah.
So people that maybe that are housebound that can't get out to see it will get a chance to see it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely worth seeing. And for years I wondered why they hadn't made one, a Laurel and Hardy film, but now they have, and I'm glad they have.
I always wondered that as well. Something that's so big and part of history is just...
Well, it's a hard story to tell because it's
Yeah.
two stories. It's not just one.
Yeah.
You've got the life story of Stan and the life story of Oliver Hardy. And I think that's a mini-series waiting to be made, you know.
Well, I mean, even with... they did a film on the Three Stooges recently, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and Larry David was in it, and it was shite.
Yeah,
It was pure shite. I don't even know other words to describe it. It was like this kind of cartoonish, slapstick, modern day...
it was a remake.
Aye.
See, they
And
did
it was
that with
just...
Sergeant Bilko as well, and the Pink
Yeah.
Panther and all. I don't like the remakes. They
Yeah.
could never get away with that with Laurel and Hardy.
No.
The fans would have come down on them with a ton of bricks because there's only one Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
But here's another quite a funny wee story, the connection with Bohemian Rhapsody. Laurel and Hardy got to number 2 in the charts in 1975 with Trail of the Lonesome Pine, the song at Away Out West.
Yeah.
In the Blue Ridge. That got to number 2. And the song that kept him off number 1 was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Brilliant.
So here we are all these years later, back in the cinemas, and Laurel and Hardy just took the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody had it a few weeks earlier. So kind of a...
Also amazing film.
I've seen the Live Aid scenes and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, it's brilliant. So there's quite a few of it just now. You know, these... there's a lot of makeup awards flying around just now, you
Yeah.
know, like Freddie Mercury, and then there's... who's it's playing George Bush in this thing?
I've not seen that one. I've not seen that a bit.
Oh my God, it's just... went totally blank. It's a major movie that's out just now, and I can't remember the actor's name. God,
I can't. I think I'm so obsessed with comedy right now. I forgot about everything else.
Apparently he's just amazing at it. He
Yeah.
looks like him, sounds like him. So there's a lot of this sort of clever makeup going around
Yeah.
just now, and that's the age we're in. It's prosthetics and green screen, and you know.
Right. So see if, say for instance, I'm in the mood to do some travelling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not to America, but is there anywhere in the UK that Laurel and Hardy fans could go to, and it would be maybe a museum or something
aye.
like that?
Stan Laurel's hometown is Ulverston in Cumbria, in the Lake District, and that's where the Laurel and Hardy Museum is. It was the world's only Laurel and Hardy Museum, but then they opened one up in Georgia, in Harlem, where Oliver Hardy was born as well,
Yeah.
where he was from.
He was from Georgia?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Because he's got an amazing accent as well. It's really smooth.
Southern gentleman.
Yeah, it's quite smooth.
I do declare.
Aye.
Oh, actually, nothing like that, but you know what I mean. What was that? I saw a mouse stare on the stair. No, I don't know what that was. But he was a southern gentleman, and he was really like that in real life as well.
Yeah.
And all these dainty little movements that he got. He got that from his mum used to run a hotel, and he used to sit people watching. Just all the different characters. As an
Brilliant.
actor, do you do things like that?
And maybe not, I don't know. I've got my weird kind of things, but I'm certainly open to learning more. I'm not
Well, if you meet a
trained.
character, somebody who's a total character, do you go, I could maybe...
Mimic.
Aye.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Aye. I'll copy their voice and stuff for my stand-up.
Well, I've been wanting to get you on my show for ages, but we haven't got around to it yet. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, and since you're here now,
Yep.
Bobby, is he a real person? Or did you just, where did he come from?
It's a mixture between many things. Bobby, I called him Bobby because there was a comedian called...
So you got to pick the name as well?
Yeah, I had most of the kind of say in it. I mean, obviously they were like, we're going to cast you in Scot Squad. You're too mental to be a police officer, so you're just going to be this nuisance that comes into the police station.
Right.
And then from there, I worked together with a team and we kind of came up with the character. I called him Bobby because there was a comedian called Gus Limburn that used to call me Bobby Dazzler. Every single time I seen him, he just called me Dazzler and Bobby. And just the way he called me, I always found it really funny. And it was like a friendly, there was nothing bad about it.
Sure,
It was
right,
all,
right.
so I was like, I'll call him Bobby. I called him Muir for his surname because there's a comedian called Jim Muir who does a character act called the Obadiah Steppenwolf,
Right.
the Third. And he's just a mad character, comedian guy. He says he's from America and he's a reverend, but he's actually Jim and he's from Kilmarnock. But he's got it down to a T. The glasses that Bobby wears are my old glasses, my old NHS glasses that I used to wear. I made him a trolley boy because I was a trolley boy, and I just says make him love wolves, just randomly, and that was it.
So did you also get to pick some of the like say what he was getting to complain about? Like, I remember one he was getting to complain that somebody had unfriended him on Facebook, for instance.
It's
improvisation, isn't it?
A lot of it's improvisation, but it's a good team work as well. There's Joe Hewlett, who's the creator. So I'll sit down with him and he'll give me 10 ideas, I'll give him 10 ideas, and we'll work on it together. Or they'll give me a scenario like that Bobby will run into the station with a bag of sausages and then I'll just do the rest.
Brilliant.
So it's nice and it's organic and it's rough around the edges, but I enjoy it.
It's one of my favourite characters in Scott Squad, I have to say. But anyway, thanks for tuning into the Ross Owen Show with my guest, Darren Connell.
I will just edit all that out. No, but
is that your real name?
Darren Connell, aye.
Some people think there's a need to have a stage name in this business.
No, it'd be like the marvellous Darren William Connell.
Marvellous.
So can I just ask, how long have we done? 45 minutes, right? We need to wrap it up pretty soon, don't we?
We can cut that.
Do you know we could go on longer, but I've still to ask you about your name and stuff.
We don't need to do that.
Glasgow Live.
I'll just tell you about that in a minute.
Glasgow Live have gave us a kind of cut off, didn't they? A 40 minutes.
You don't want to go on it too long anyway.
See, when I come and do your show, we can do, I mean, you're going to cut this out anyway, we're just gibbering shite, aren't we? What? Alright, okay.
Still here, sorry. People here.
No, when I come and do your show, we can talk about all that.
Absolutely.
But look, is there anything else you want to punt before we wrap up?
This 75 pence and it's yours.
Just drink the rest of it and you'll wake up in a field somewhere.
Right, okay.
It was me that bought him that. No, but look, check out the Ross Owen Show. Stan and Ollie still in the cinema. Go and see it. Take the family. It's amazing. You can take your gran, take the youngest kid, and it'll be fantastic. Thank you for tuning in to Glasgow Live again. Give us a wee like on Facebook and you'll see who we've got coming up in the next coming weeks. And just thanks for coming on, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, Dan. It's a pleasure.
Cheers, troops. See you later.